Yeah.
You know that song, boy. Break down, don't
Yeah, man. Lean. Perfect time.
you ready?
Yeah.
Old school family, what's going on? What's happening tonight? We hope that everybody had a peaceful and positive day. Hope none of our listeners have got no family members being affected by the COVID. If so, our prayers and our thoughts go out to you. As always, we want to say thank you for allowing us to have an hour of your time, and we hope that you can walk away with this show and we can just give you something to think about and let you take yourself back to a place that was a lot better than what we have going on. Before we start off, we want to give a big shout out to Indigo Entertainment and Random Works. Those boys are playing a major part in the community. Thanks a lot, our partner in our broadcast, Indigo Entertainment. With all that, we just basically want to say the show for this hour is called Love Was Behind It All. With that, we just want to start off by saying, how many of us had some holes in life that we went in? That somebody that was close to us gave us a little bit of game, tried to help us out. If we did perceive the information, it was a little bit too late, or did we kind of listen to the information and was able to be realized from what they was trying to save us from? So before I go any further, let my boy Deron come in. What was you saying today when we was talking about perception?
Oh man, that didn't take me there yet. I don't know what context you're talking about.
Well, as far as, did we get off into something and remember who tried to tell us to keep us from whatever it was that we got off into?
Right. So I got exactly what you're talking about. So we were talking about we were mentioning how when we get to making our own decisions, because we all have to stand our own 10. And that's something that's going to always bridge the gap, because everybody's got to stand on their own square. And the more that we get back to that, the more that we're at our more perfect state. And so what we got to talking about was, it don't matter what it is, when you stand either on righteous or you stand on, your passions and desires, there's still going to be a result for it. And it's going to probably be a consequence. At the end of the day, after everything, it has to be a challenge. There has to be a challenge. So we got to stand up here and just say, we saw Grandma take a challenge on the chin. She took a challenge like no other. We saw those figures that stood as giants amongst us who were able to say word and it be bond. That's a rare occasion, and that's a rare individual. And so we put prize in those individuals. But nonetheless, when we got off the porch, we got to getting into our own passions and desires. And it's life. That's what's supposed to happen. But it provided a challenge, and we ended up in what we call a hole. And when you're sitting in that hole, sometimes all you can think about is you have to go back. It's kind of like how they used to tell you to get down a tree, the same way you got up it. So you put yourself in this place, this hole, and then you have to get back out of it by reversing how you got there. And along that path, you're going to get perceptions, which are you're going to get these illustrations of people giving you that game. you're gonna get these illustrations of people telling you, as we have the no's, the stops, the waits. All of those are gonna end up being gems to you when you're sitting in that hole. And chance will present itself, because chance happens to all of us. Matter of fact, the sun shines on the just and the unjust. So I believe that was the basis of what we were talking about and how I communicated.
And so when we talk about holes, what was it that when we say love was behind it all? And you know, back when we was a kid, I was thinking today, remember how we used to always be so quick to say when they would tell us no about something, man, I can't wait till I get grown. And remember when they would sit there and say, no, you don't want to be grown.
Right.
You better stay a kid as long as you can stay a kid. And, you know, it wasn't until we got older to realize that, hey, boy, being a kid was simple. It really was simple. But a lot of people that told us stuff, that wouldn't let us go certain places and do certain things other families was doing. Like, you know, we had a few aunties that was really in the church. And they would always say back when we was young, you don't need to hang with them, they are the world. You know, I'm like, well, man, what are they all? You know, when they was young, you really didn't catch exactly what it was that meant. But like my mama would say, I don't care what they doing down there. Y'all ain't going down there. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we would have so much hatred and anger built up, but it was because she saw something that we wasn't able to see. And so when we talk about the holes, you remember how important grandma really was, but I don't want to just go into grandma because we talk about grandma a lot, even though she was the big thing. But what were some of the other family members that we got information from? You know, how important of a role did an auntie play? And then the bond man, when we was kids, the bond we had with a cousin was something.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It was really something. But you know, the uncles and stuff that with the game and stuff that we was gave, and like when we say the holes, grandma and a lot of the older people of our family, they gave you information. They didn't sugarcoat nothing. They told you if they didn't like who you was dating. If they didn't like the girl or the dude, they told you that. They told you if they didn't like your friends. And it's really tight what you just said, bro, because the incarceration process, and it takes a lot of people that's been down that path to understand what I'm talking about. On nights when you can't sleep and you staring up at that ceiling and your mind is fresh. My mind took me all the way back to school teachers that we had. And the school teachers was really real. They used to be, because you know, I was the class clown and always cracking jokes and playing. And they like, y'all laughing at Mr. Clark. Y'all think he's real funny. But go and see where he gonna be at 25 years from now. You know? Hey. And to get in that place, to fall off in that hole, and there ain't a lot of homies to run with, not a lot of alcohol and weed. Your mind is at a pure and fresh state. And boy, every day you hear voices of people that was saying that this is what was going to happen to you. This is what the people that really cared about you wanted to give you game to stay away from. Because real partners and friends don't come with a cost. You know what I mean?
Right, right. Yeah, I mean that's what we're spreading. You know, that unconditional love, right?
Mm.
You know, we've mentioned this for some years now, and you know, it's a simple message.
And what is unconditional love? Break it down for me.
Well, it's a decision, and it's a very mature decision. So this is where a person comes of age at no matter what the numerical age, if they have the ability to produce unconditional love, that's a valuable human being. This is actually a very high spiritual activity because it requires some challenge. And with that challenge, the challenge is to choose these people or to choose this item that's beloved, that beloved based off of a decision that the person who was committing unconditional love has made. It's not based off of contingency, that I'm going to arbitrarily make agreements so that I can come out with something and they can come out with something. So, I mean, yeah, we see some of this in children, but these are things that require a great level of spiritual maturity to begin to get to the point to where, hey, all I'm doing is making a decision today to give you patience, to give you goodness, to give you kindness, etc., etc. Those things that we all naturally respond to and blossom when we have around us. And that's the home that we're going back and talking about. That's the community that we're going in and talking about. That community that there was something that you couldn't put at the time, you couldn't articulate it, but now having a little bit of maturity, these were the traits. Unconditional love was absolutely one of those.
And it was felt. It was felt. Even though we couldn't comprehend it, it was felt. And when we would go back and just look at our birthday parties, or when Christmas and stuff would come, you know, the regular Christmas routine, wake up early, open up all your stuff, then everybody got to take showers and get ready to get to the dinner. You know what I mean? And your mama tell you can take one or two things, your cousin's going to bring one of their things. But, I mean, and when we sit back and we say unconditional love and all this type of stuff, the thing that, it really wasn't a lot of stuff that we needed as kids. The only thing of it was we was hard-headed. But it was a lot of people that truly loved us. That's why they told us no. That's why they wouldn't let us do so many things, because they had either been around the block 1, 2, maybe 3 or 4 times. And it's a different kind of feeling, man, when somebody has what did Jerry say that one time we was talking, when somebody had your best when they want the best for you and they're really looking out for you because they truly love you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when you think about it, like the brother said last week, we dropped the ball. Our generation dropped the ball. I mean, man, bro, to see what we're doing now, who are the ones that would talk to us and give us the game like the uncles that we had? You know, grandma, like I said, grandma played her part. You know, grandpa, he was kind of grandpa. You know what I'm saying? But man, you had aunties that was cold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You had people that would reinforce what your mama would tell you. So it would make you believe it. If you heard it come from your favorite auntie, and the thing about family at that time too, bro, was everybody had their own private time with grandma or a certain uncle or a certain auntie. Even though it was so many of us for us to love, each one of us had a certain conversation, a certain time. I don't care if it would have been like you had a doctor's appointment and instead of going back to school, you're going to hang with grandma for the rest of the day.
Right.
And it might not would have been nothing, but probably, you know, go to McDonald's and do a little something. And, but there was so much game that was given.
Right.
There was reinforcements that my uncle told me all the time. God bless his soul. He said that, look, this is what you out here doing. This is how you move. You don't listen to nobody. So I'm just letting you know from my experience, where you going is you going to the penitentiary or you gonna die. I mean, that was in almost every conversation that we had, bro. And then you know my story and the situation of what happened.
All right.
But what you told me today, I perceived the information when it was too late. But the reward of it is that I got to see him some years before he passed for me to be able to say these key words. Man, I always thought you was the meanest uncle we had. But I realize now how much you loved us.
Right.
Intermission. You guys had the live on private, so only 5 people could join. I changed it to public, so you guys should be getting a lot more viewers.
Okay.
All right.
So, yeah, you know what I mean? The thing of it is and believe me, the holes is financial holes,
Yeah.
relationships. Who do we have today that sees danger, like in the Circle 7, where one suspects the least enemies always expect the greatest danger?
Okay.
Who do we have taking the place of some of the people? And do we want to say did we take them for granted?
Yeah. Technically, we're taking them for granted. Technically, you're taking them for granted when you have, like you said, individuals who are going out of their way, and it's some of them not even going out of their way. They're doing what they've naturally conditioned themselves to do, which is to help, to give a helping hand, to provide charity, which all charity is love. But, you know, we know in modern times, and it was a perfect translation, that when you can give something freely, you love it. And especially when it's valuable. And yeah, we devalue and we take for granted people's attention. But now there's a generation that is conditioned not to take attention for granted. And so we truly have individuals living their best life. And that's all we can ask for. And so during these times, peace is most important.
And when you say that, bro, not for what people listen to the song and sing, but what is your best life? What is living the best life?
Well, we only live, from what we know, one time.
One time.
So living your best life is indulging in your existence. Living your best life means to take the necessary self-care. Living your best life means being your most alert and being your most purposeful, because you are choosing and you are at peace with what you are choosing. And so it's the opportunity to God, because there are all directions point from ancient wisdoms and divine wisdoms that we have a experience to where we are G-O-D, small G-O-D. And so in doing so, in that sovereignty, when you manifest, there is a living experience in that. We're called to do that. So living your best life is you doing that, but then we get into other levels of things. But we have to, at least, that's the sun shining on every individual in order to live their best life. But not everybody's living their best life. Some are living the worst nightmare.
But so do you say that when we devalue and we didn't listen to a lot of people that was just telling us stuff out of love, that had our best interest in mind, that's the word I was looking for. When somebody loves you and they're doing something for you or telling you something because they got your best interest in heart, no strings, no price tag, nothing attached, that's a good thing. So is that what you said last week? Why some of us cried so hard when we lost some special people, because it was a guilt?
Hey, I could see there being a wretched spirit when opportunities are missed. Like you said, just to say to somebody, just to give that verbal, because there comes a point to when you realize, when you've been provided unconditional love, that you realize how many times you failed to do one of the essential laws. The essential laws of righteousness, and truth, which is reciprocity. And when you miss that opportunity, it leaves you empty. Because no, we was raised, and you realize you was raised right, because you realize somebody raised you to value. When you go to somebody's house and you eat their food, and you use their toilet, and you utilize their towels, that you have a gratitude about you, because that's the least you can do for their hospitality. And these begin to give us the seeds of reciprocity. We are at a state as we are the worst as black people we've ever been. There's a certain level of common sense that we are forgetting about, because we've gotten so sophisticated, so derivative driven. You see, we got financial securities that we put our whole attention to. That is the currency of the day. We put our whole attention to these financial derivatives. So now everything is derivative and microwave. We feel like we can live on this pie in the sky and we can have it as sustenance. But when the ground is screaming, we need that foundation so that we can live indefinitely. But when we lose our minds, which this American diet is essential for, it's essential that you go to dream state and that you leave basic reality.
And so it's basically like what I've been saying, what's real is fake and what's fake is real. You know what I mean? When you think about it, and even the messages that we had, you remember the people back in the rap game back in the days? They came from the same thing we came from. You remember the messages that was in the rap game? You remember the MCs that we had back then? Poor righteous teachers. I was on them this morning on my way to work.
It's been years since I've heard Ice Cube, check yourself. And just the statement alone is really loving. He's saying, check yourself. But it's firm. You knew the man was raised with a man in the house. See, these are the nuances of communication that have to be wrought with experience. And the man said very patiently, check yourself before you wreck yourself. And it leaves enough of a sting like only a father in the home can, with a firm statement.
Boy, and
that's well placed.
And that's for a whole nother show, because I'm going to tell you like this too, man. Can you imagine, like I told you today, and you know I admire you for how you do at home and take care of the kids. But can you imagine how, as a child, sleeping much better knowing your daddy's in the home, security? You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think, you know, I want our listeners to really understand what the purpose of old school is. Old school is just to make us slow down a little bit. To just use your mind and ask yourself, how far from the porch have we got in life? How far? I mean, are we giving anybody in our family the kind of game that was gave to us? Because we really have their best intentions in heart. That's carrying the torch. That's passing the torch. You know, it took me a little bit of time to really think, and the brother was right. Our generation was the last stuff. The generation before us was my mom and them. They really got it. You know what I'm saying? My mom and them really got it. Because before the materialistic stuff came into play, it was nothing but visitation and conversation. And people loved it.
Right.
You know, you couldn't wait to get out of school to pack up, because I'm going to go spend a couple weeks down in the South.
Yeah. Yeah.
But here's what I'm saying is, who are we giving the information? Or are we basically just watching these younger people in our families and our generation choose this path of destruction? Because we know what's getting, we already know what's getting ready to happen.
Yeah.
And right now, the death, see, it was the penitentiary when I was coming up. Jail was the big thing.
Yeah.
But now it's jail or death. And even though the demon has already said, you know what, I'm gonna take it. Because you know one thing I tripped on is off the subject a little bit, but these cats is out here killing people. And some of them get ready to spend the rest of their life in the penitentiary, and they caught in 2 and 3 weeks. But they have already accepted the fact that they'll die and that they'll take their jail time.
Yeah.
And is it because they just so mentally and spiritually dead, or they don't have nothing to lean back on like we do? See, when we do this old school journey, this is leaning back. This is basically paying homage. You know, my biggest thing, and y'all gonna always hear me say this. If the people that are no longer here today, that we love so much, if we could talk to them for 5 minutes, would they tell us that they appreciate and approve how we are trying to navigate and negotiate with the family? Would they really? Because here's my thing, and I have to take it down to some of you all, some of you listeners that I like to use analogies because I want to make sure I get the point across. But let's look at the movie Roots with Kunta Kinte.
All right.
Remember, until Kunta Kinte died, he told everybody that he spoke to that my name ain't Toby. My name is Kunta Kinte, son of Amaro and Benta Kinte.
Yeah.
And I come from Africa.
Yeah.
Where this is how we did things.
Yeah.
Where I came from. And he said it until he died, bro.
Right.
But do you remember how many were around him that was like, damn, that Negro crazy.
Right.
He always talking about the African mumbo jumbo. And so we find ourselves like that today because my kids think that this that they have now, this is it.
Yeah.
This ain't it. We came from something greater than this.
Yeah.
We came from love. People paid attention. People told you stuff because they loved you.
Yeah.
Now, some of our listeners may have listened and perceived and avoided a hole. Some of us is dead and gone, and then some of us was like my story, you know, which my story I don't think is bad because I finally come into the knowledge of self to be able to give back, to share, to teach, and that's what I want my job, you know, between me and you. I just say I just want the Creator, so if we really judge the way that Grandma told us we was going to be judged, I just hope that in the next half of my life, I can make some of my wrongs, you know, a lot of my rights,
Right.
outdo my wrongs. And it's funny, man, the older you get, emotional you become. You know, things that just, it's a different time, man, and it wasn't like this, bro.
Yeah.
I'm talking about homes are separated and dysfunction. There is no love. You remember growing up, man, the thing was to go and knock on somebody's door. Yeah, your mama told me you was coming. Here you go. She said y'all wanted 2 eggs and some sugar.
Yeah.
And that wasn't no laughing matter because sometime within the next month or two, they gonna be at your house. Or you would tell your mama would tell you, take these sugar and these eggs back up to Miss Diane or whatever and tell her thank you. It really was a community, bro.
No doubt.
It really, really was a community. And even the people that cooked for us and fed us at school, they were just extensions of aunties and grandmas, and all the people had the same thing to say. Is do what you're supposed to do in school and stay out of trouble.
Yeah.
You know, make grandma proud.
Yeah.
Do this. You know, honestly, before things really got bad, I can never ever say that there was a time that I didn't feel loved or cared about. Go ahead, bro.
Well, no, you know, you mentioned something, hey, as we got coming up here, the halfway mark. And traditionally at the halfway mark, again, we like to be reminded that, you know, to keep the lights on, it does take finances. And we've got our partners, Indigo Entertainment.
Yeah, Random Works.
And we have OL'Skooled. And together, you know, we just want to put together good content.
Oh, hold on, let me give a shout out again to Sister Crystal that called in Monday, and she knew what flavor we was drinking. It was that
absolutely.
raspberry, that blue raspberry, and that
Give me
lemonade.
some of that.
If somebody can call in tonight and tell me what this kind is, we'll contact you, and we got a couple of prizes that we can send out. You know, we got, the other night we had the Oreos on deck. Tonight we got the Chip Ahoy's on deck. But if somebody can call and give me an idea of what kind of Kool-Aid they think this is we drinking tonight,
Shoot.
and wait till you taste it, boy.
Here goes the official test.
It's fire.
Hey, that last, that previous one,
That blue raspberry lemonade, that was cold. And see, let me tell y'all why we drink the Kool-Aid. And a lot of y'all probably need to be drinking Kool-Aid. It's because everybody that's listening knew there was a time when you went in people's houses and you saw that picture in the refrigerator. You knew that was
love the
good.
main ingredient.
Yeah,
That's
you
right.
You knew that was good. So, you know, back like we used to say, pour a little liquor out for the homies. We drink a little bit of Kool-Aid because we all know, us as black people, that this was something that we all was tied
That was
into.
a rally, boy. It was a rallying point. Yep. Nah, man, yeah. Just, putting everybody together, putting together good content, and really, most of all, interacting with those who want to help with the cause, enjoy the conversation, or value the information and share it most of all. And if you do those things, you know, now is the time to seize the day. There's no greater time than now to be out, sharing this information. It's a courageous act, we know. I actually have a family member who, in Chicago, who died breaking up a fight of some youth that he watched raised up. And he's from that old school. He's from Mississippi. And he was in the community like we talking about, doing exactly what we talking about. When you saw somebody who had some age on them, maybe it was a peer of your parent or grandparent, that's what we talking about. When you was going to the school cafeteria, when you were going to the community center around the corner, you know, and you were getting ready to play your basketball, you was getting ready to play your tennis ball, whatever it may be, and you were running into these individuals, and they were telling you, what's your grades like? What's your favorite subject? But this does not exist today. That's the travesty, that this is a desert of vested individuals. When they have 5,000 friends on Facebook, they have 10,000 friends on Facebook, but none of their parents are stopping you at the grocery market asking, are them your babies? How old are they? They eating good? That's what we got asked.
Yeah, boy.
Are they eating good? When was the last time somebody asked you that?
Yeah. Do you got food? You know? Are your utilities on? I mean, what has happened? Like I said, how far off the porch have we gotten? Who are we taking a chance? You know, and like I was saying about Kunta Kinte before I got off this subject, is I want to go to my grave like that, telling my family members about the ones before me. I want to tell them about how powerful grandma was, that everybody that came through that door was greeted the same way. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it was just because, man, grandma had a relationship with so many people. You remember what we said last week, bro. It took some of us till we was in our 20s to realize that such and such wasn't our real uncle.
Right.
But
somebody had to break it down. Somebody was dating somebody or something. You put some things together. You're like, nah, all right. Well, hey. Your
And
iron is still the same. You know?
And I always say, cuz, that if those people were really that great, they were great people. What are we?
Hey, it always got to go give a moment of silence because something probably died. And what was it? What is it?
You know, I want to give a shout out to my boy Blackjack. You know, and I was messaging, you know, telling Jack keep his head up. He was saying he missed his dad. You know, and I can never comprehend a relationship with a dad because I didn't have a father. But it is good, and you are gonna miss him, bro. You're gonna always miss him because as we get older, you start realizing the artificialness of life. You know, it's people, you know, my big thing, I call it Facebook, but we got so many friends. And like you said, bro, how many of our people on there ask you, are you eating good? You know, how did people for blocks away, you miss Bessie? So, y'all, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People knew what family you was in.
What family you was in, yeah.
They knew your brothers, they knew your sisters. And the love they had for you came because they loved a woman, an uncle, an auntie, or somebody in your family so much.
Yeah.
And people did, you know, to really just realize, man, grandma sacrificed for her entire family. What sacrifices are we making, bro? Are we just sitting back watching people fall off? Are we trying to give people some game so if they do run off into these holes, they would think about us? Because like you said, it's a lot of holes that we running into out here. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And sometimes when you get off in these holes, what's going to allow you to survive is what you have to lean on.
Right.
Family, we as black people, we got to get it together, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We a long way from home, bro.
And it starts with every once in a while, you gotta have a fight about some cookies. And Goose said you need to share them cookies.
Who said?
Goose said.
Gooch, what's up, baby? I'm eating some of these for the greedy grove.
Yeah, man. Like, we have petty fights with our family, and we have to embrace that, and that's what it is. And so that we can strengthen ourselves, so that when we come out of our house, like you said, it's one of the tightest things we've ever talked about, and I'm going to tell you what I caught, is that when we come out of our house, we represent a pillar, an anchor, so that when we with other members, we holding it down. And we capable of holding it down, so that when they see our cousins, our nephews out in the street, they like, hold up. That's the homie's family. So he's getting looked out just like he's getting looked out.
But are we doing that?
We can't, because it's all severed up. To be honest, it's defiled. It's defiled.
And what do you mean by that?
Listen, when it comes to unity, and you got the back door and the snaking, that's defilement. When you got the gossip, that's defilement. You know they didn't. That you know they ain't in the same house no more.
That's how. Well, but remember the information Grandma gave you about and uncles and them gave you about a hole.
Right.
Don't let everybody outside the house know your business.
Yeah. Right. And it wasn't to be. See, it got taken as being hypocritical. As being hypocritical.
Boy, y'all better get on some of this Kool-Aid, man.
Hey, and see, it's already been mentioned that it's blue raspberry.
No.
Okay, that guess was wrong.
That guess was wrong.
That guess was wrong.
We need another listener to either call in or tell us what y'all think this is right here. Now, because see, when I picked this one out, I picked this out because this was a flavor that really didn't get no love.
I'm gonna have some more. He said it didn't. Hey.
No, this flavor right here, cuz, didn't get no love. But it's fire, ain't it?
Hey,
straight pancreas killer.
This right here is a pan fried barbecue chicken, cornbread, and I'm gonna taste it one more time. That's some scalloped potatoes.
So if somebody can call in or write in and give us a good close enough guess to what y'all think this kind is, then we gonna contact you on Messenger and we'll send something out there to you. A t-shirt, candle, a CD of grandma or something like that. But this is all we want, man. Again, it's just to make people think, man. I want you to get off the phone and when you lay down and you go to bed at night, think about the people we lost, man, and what they really meant to you. Everybody we lost played a role in our life some way or another. Whether it was information, somebody helped you in a squabble, somebody gave you a few dollars, and I give a shout out to the South, because I told you, bro, that if I could talk to my little bro and ask Hasi if he was proud of me and what I'm trying to do with the family, I would say yeah. But I would really tell him that I see why you loved your boy so much. Because years after my brother's death, these boys still love him. And they loved him for what he was made about, for what he was made out of. See, we love Grandma not because it was no money. We loved her for what she was made out of. Grandpa, uncle, whoever, aunt such and such, whatever. Now, my aunties. I had some aunties that was mean. Them aunties was mean.
Yeah.
But my uncles was cool. And my relationship was a lot more with my cousins. I loved my cousins. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I just want to tell people, the reason with Old School right now is we got the pandemic and everything going away. And y'all please hear this if y'all don't hear nothing else. When you lose this, when you lose the laughing, the cracking jokes, the family time, man, we done lost everything.
Yeah.
This is all we got left. The memories is all we have left, bro. And we can't give in to this world because everybody that's listening to us tonight knows that this wasn't it. A Saturday morning, to get up, you got the music playing, you got your breath, and see, this is what I'm saying, there's so much we can go to too, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, what about the rice and the sugar and butter and milk? The toast, the scrambled eggs, the hot dogs fried till they curl up. I'm talking about breakfasts, boy, that put something on you. That when it was time to come home from dinner, you still wasn't hungry. And because we played so much, we was watched everywhere we went.
Right.
Remember when Grandma would be like, how do you think she found out?
Right.
It was a community, bro.
Yeah.
And
you didn't, you took for granted because on some real talk, Your grandma was sitting there in the house by the time you got around, right?
Mm-hmm.
And by that time, she's calling plays like Belichick.
Calling plays.
So she's sitting in the house, and you think, I mean, I only seen her in 2 outfits, and I mean, she ain't as articulate. I'm out here spitting this game. She ain't articulate like that. So you out here ripping and running, and like you say, information is getting back. It's 2 days, 3 days. You out here, boom, boom. You done moved here and there. You done went into these shops. You done went into these offices. You done ran across these people who are eyeing you, and you didn't even realize them. All of them got a connection to a lady that they adore.
Mm.
And then you find out, you know, that person they adore is your grandmother. And that whole time, she's been in the community, been disrespected, despised, and carried herself with nothing but class and grace. Or that venom when it was needed, and that heat if need be.
Because we done seen grandma have to get into it with some aunties and cousins because she didn't compromise. It wasn't no compromise.
Right.
But what you said was tough. Don't we all want to die and be loved like that? Having this next generation of people, man, I love my Uncle Warren. You know, when I was little, he would throw us off and do this. And don't we want to be cared about and loved more for the reasons that we have been up to this point? Because the love we had the last several years, man, is the betrayal, the stealing, the gossiping, talking behind people's back. You know, people burying it. We're burying people in funerals. They ain't even been dead 48 hours and we fighting over stuff. And if I don't get the TV, then I don't talk to nobody for 10 years.
One conversation away.
Oh, well, a lot of us. And listen what my cousin just said. A lot of us are one argument in disagreement away from never speaking to somebody that we say we love. And if you really love somebody, what makes you that man? Grandma was never like that.
You know, there's some things you're going to see and some things you don't say. You know, and that's just the discipline that we all got to move with, you know. When we see the things that are worthy of shock and awe, can we have composure? And you can have composure when you possess what you just said. When you have the ability to have your principles and not compromise. So when it's the case that somebody's calling you a liar, well, we ain't moving from this place right here until we clarify that, because you believe in you that's a principle that you hold so dear. You know, and so, and we got to be thankful to those giants. And like you said, it wasn't always a grandma.
No.
But I tell you, a lot of times black men don't get recognized for being some of the pillars that we presently are. You know, when it comes to having the ability to get up every day, to have the discipline, to learn, to develop your skill to the point to where you are needed in your job, and to go through what you have to go through in order to keep your reputation clean as a worker. You know, we have males in our families who have done these things, that worked at factories, that worked with districts, that worked with hospitals.
That was their uncle.
Hey.
All he did, you know, that uncle.
Yeah.
If he was off on the weekends, or sometimes you never knew where he worked with.
Right.
You just knew he always had a pocket full of money.
Right.
And he washed his car, what is it, 7-day week? He washed it 5 days in a week. He could just be out there talking to you and be like, man, he'd be like, Uncle, that's clean. Nah, whatever. I might go on and wash him up. You know what I mean? And if it was a such thing as washing the paint off of it, he would. But even he had information to give. And when grandma needed him to be firm and to stand tall, he would. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He would stand tall and be firm and take over the leadership. That's why I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. No, so we're gonna take a little pivot here. We got to do a very important part of the show. We got to announce our Kool-Aid trivia winner.
Who is it this time?
And so we've had Cherry be thrown out.
All right.
And Black Cherry.
Who said Black Cherry?
Gooch is on it.
Oh, Gooch, man. Yep, you got it, baby. That Black Cherry. Hey, but Black Cherry was the kind that wasn't never really talked about.
You know what? You telling the truth when you said that.
Black Cherry wasn't really talked about.
I tell you, there's always so many that can go well. No, wait. That can go well. That was LaWanda.
Oh, that's my T-John, my mama.
Yeah.
Love you, mama.
That was a...
So
we got to correct that.
No, we'll give it to Gooch and we'll give Gooch, my bro.
Yeah.
We'll give it to Mama.
Yeah, we got
what did Mama say?
She said the Black Cherry. Gooch said Cherry.
Yeah, we'll give it to both of them for participating. But and we want to thank y'all, man. Y'all's participation is really gonna help us grow and push us to the big plan that we got. I'm doing old school because, like I said, I've been made peace with my creator, and I just want to use the time to give to y'all what somebody gave me when I was in my hole, and that was knowledge of self to make me love myself, and I can love y'all. And all I want to do is give it to y'all the best way I had it, gave to me, and that was just by making you think. And just remember, man, don't get so caught up in this world that we become this world and forget where we came from. It wasn't always like this. But we at the last of the show, so I'm going to go ahead and let you...
Give me a minute. You can go ahead and what we set us up for our closing here. Get a quick little briefing from the book, I promise. And then
you want me to go close this out and then let you go?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right, well, first I want to be able to say thank you to all the people that let us borrow 60 minutes out your day. We hope it's put a smile on you and gave you a little something better to think about than just what's been going on in the world for the last couple of days. I hope that you take this opportunity to do something in your family and make some people in your family miss you like we miss the ones that we wish we could see. They could whoop us, they could holler at us, they could get on us, they could tell us no one more time. Just to let them know, thank you for telling me what you told me because you was right. And I realize now that if I went in a hole or if you didn't go in a hole, you knew the information that they gave you was because it was only for your best intention and they cared for you. Want to give a shout out again to Indigo Entertainment and Random Works. Keep up with Indigo Entertainment. They doing a lot of stuff off in the community. Again, we want you all to register, take a look at our websites, and we're going to have a lot of prizes and giveaways, and the only thing we really want is just for people to listen to us and give us your feedback. I don't even care if it's just you guessing what kind of Kool-Aid we're drinking, but also being able to take some from the show and be able to help us grow. And I always say, if you think that don't nobody care for you and love you, we do here at OL'Skooled.
Absolutely. We're going to go ahead and boomerang that back to you. As promised, we've got a real brief closing here where we're going to have a section to where, we're going to go into this segment with some scholastic activity. And it's necessary because it's refined and it's like eating good food. It's going to be something that puts the minerals, the nutrients necessary for us to be vibrant. And so the book, as promised last time, is Brainwashed. Brainwashed by Mr. Tom Burrell, an individual who is anchored in Hollywood as a marketing and advertising, and has for the past several years been very vocal about the lack of black consciousness in Hollywood. And we need to understand that we are all definitely under the screen illusion, and we just can't really count the ways and the angles that it influences. And so I'm gonna really add the validity to this book by reading a little segment of it and then closing myself. And so it talks about here that this book examines our subconscious perpetuation of the myth of black inferiority by asking these fundamental questions. Why can't we build strong families? Why do we perpetuate black sexual stereotypes? Why are black and beauty still contradictions? Why do we keep killing each other? Why are we killing ourselves? Why can't we stop shopping? Why do we expect so little of each other and ourselves? Why do we give up our power so willingly? Why can't we stick together, stick and stay together? Why is the joke always on us? And so, examining these points here throughout this study here, I want to ask, why can't we start to take an analytical look at the situation we're in and say, not for the sake of being irresponsible or for deflecting, but for the sake of being honest and humble, that hey, as I close here, as the great Malcolm X has said, I really want to end with this quote for myself tonight. You've been misled, you've been had, and you've been took. And so, we appreciate your ear tonight, as attention is the currency of the day. And if you appreciate us, visit the website, pick up a username, and interact with us. You know, we want to put together some things for you here throughout the season. We both like to put things to pen and pad in respective ways, so we look forward to producing some things and letting you guys take a listen and look at it as we go forward. So again, if no one else loves you, we at Old School here, we definitely got love for you, nothing but love for you.
So we'll see y'all next Monday at 7 o'clock p.m. And we also going to have it set up to where we can accept the calls, because we want people to call in, and we want to hear what you have to say, and we want other people to hear what you have to say. So until we talk Monday, man, be safe. We know it's 2020, and with 2020, make sure you got vision.
All right, peace.